Yeah, it was cool, but my basement was fine.
Me too.
All right, so today let's start our new lab and a new topic. Close your stuff up. Focus on me. Okay. I'm going to add a lab. Let's see. What's it going to be called? Lab 5? Let's have a look. Create. Reuse posts. So we all got our tests in. They were looking pretty good yesterday. Good job. Scratch exercise 1. Scratch is a web-based coding. I guess you could call it a language. Okay. It's a lot of point and click stuff. We'll make that do when we come back. Wow, the next time I see you guys, it'll be October. Yeah, October 4th. So we'll make that do October 4th. And the next thing I want you to do is go to Google and type the word Scratch. S-C-R-A-T-C-H. Scratch. And just hit enter. The first thing that'll come up is usually that Scratch website there. Okay, most of you have seen it before. It's targeted primarily at children 8 through 16 as an educational tool for programming. That's going to be perfect for us just to get into the early learning skills of what coding is all about. We actually don't have to type, so it's going to help us avoid a lot of errors. And so let's click on that. You can click join, make your own account. Strongly recommend don't putting anything inappropriate in the username. Why is that? Because what happens is every couple weeks they go through the usernames and delete the ones with like 420 in them or 69 or Bong Toker or whatever crazy name you want to put. So don't do it because it'll let you make it, but then it'll delete your account. And your account, you save all your projects on there. Okay, so if it gets deleted, you could be working on we're going to be making some games in Scratch. You could be working on it for like 4 or 5 hours, and it's just your whole account gets deleted. So just make it something. Look, everything has been taken for the most part. Yeah, look, I just typed a random letters, and it was taken. Look. Oh, that one's still good. Just come up with some name, you know. Larry Bird 33. You think Larry Bird 33 is taken? Yep. Most of them are taken, but come up with something clever. Something that could help you. Something you can remember too. You know what a good idea might be? Because you can show your password on the screen, right? Here's a smart idea, guys. Let's say I want to make my password Larry Bird 33 and my username to be Larry Bird Boston Celtics or something. Something crazy, whatever, right? If I take a screenshot, which we did in the first lab, okay, I could save this picture to my hard drive so that I won't forget my username and password. It happens sometimes where you forget it. You come back after a week and you just can't remember it. So.
Or, you know, after 5 years.
Yeah, after 5 years too. But then you'd probably have lost that picture by then. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. For a website like this, like I've always just make my password the name of the website so I won't forget it.
Wow.
Smart, eh?
Thank you for telling us.
I do not have an email. You can just, I think there's some little issue about, I don't know, try to make an account and see what it says. Maybe it'll say, we need your parents' permission or something silly. I don't know. I don't think it does that anymore. Okay, so this is the homepage of Scratch if you have an account. And one of the nice things about Scratch is that people share their projects all the time. And every project you can see the code in. This is an old school game, Connect 4. Let's see if this looks good. Okay? You could play this game. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
You have to click play.
I'll play, yeah. This was a fun game. Yeah, I'm playing against someone where it drops the things down, right? So someone made this. They did a great job. We're not going to make anything this advanced. I think I just won. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, yellow has won. Okay? You can see inside of the code, all it is just a lot of dragging and dropping of these blocks. Okay? This one's quite involved, and we will never get that involved in this class, because once we learn the basics of Scratch, we're actually going to start coding in a language where we type all the code. But it is a neat website to kind of explore. Once you get logged in, or just create an account. So I'll give you a couple minutes to do that, and then I'll show you how to make some really basic projects to start and to follow along video. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go to Scratch, Lab 1 quickly. Well, I'll just read it for you here. Create an account in Scratch. Don't use inappropriate language for your username or password, or Scratch will delete your account at a later date. Okay. Here's some things we need to know how to do. So let's go. When you go to Scratch's main website, you always go to Create at the top to make your first program, or to make any program. So do that, okay? Here are some things we need to take into account. The first thing is that Scratch is sprite driven. So all the code that you do, that you drag with these blocks, is directed to pictures, okay? And pictures in coding are often called sprites. So you can add as many sprites as you want. They have a kind of a gallery of free ones here. You can make your own by just uploading pictures. You can draw your own, you can paint your own sprites, all that kind of stuff. For now, we'll just use this default one. That's the kitty here. There he is. You can even edit him, do fun stuff with him too, okay? We're not going to worry too much about that. Let's look at some things we can make him do. For instance, I'm going to drag this move 10 steps block here. If I double click on that, notice he's moving 10 pixels, okay? It even shows his X position, okay? So, these blue blocks here are all having to do with motion. Who's clicking like a madman over there? Chill. What else can I do? I can turn them. Yeah? Easy?
You have to give her email.
Yeah.
So the school one?
That's fine, yeah. What else can I do? Under purple is looks. Looks like I can change his color, make him say stuff. Hello. He says hello for 2 seconds. Okay, great. He can think. I don't know how that different that is from say. I think it's just a little thought bubble instead of a talk bubble. If you ever want to delete these, you can just drag them back over to the bubbles there, to the blocks. That's fine, okay? Sound, if you're going to play sound, I don't recommend it, but make sure your sound is off because it's super annoying, all the little sounds you can play. Okay, you can see that that could get very distracting in a class of 20 people, so don't use those. Events are important. Events are basically launch something when something happens. I think for every project, the first block of code you want in any project is this one. Let me show you that. It's called when the flag is clicked, okay? It basically will allow you to launch your program by pressing this green flag. It gives you a start button for your program. Yes? And there's some other important ones that we'll talk about later. How to get sprites to talk to one another and let them know that certain events are happening so that they can do their code, all that stuff. But that's for a later lab, later Scratch exercise. Control is also very important. There's a wait command. You can make your sprite wait before it does something. There's a repeat loop. Whatever block I put in here will run 10 times, but I can choose more than 10. Important. Here's a loop that'll do run forever, okay? There's an if statement, so you can get the the sprite to make decisions based on if certain things are happening. So those are going to be important later as well. Sensing is one we're going to use today. Sensing is checking if a mouse is touching something, if two colors are touching. You can also get your sprite to ask whoever's running your program to type something in and store that information. That's going to be important. You can check if your mouse is being pressed down. There are some math things you can do with numbers. You can add, you can subtract, you can multiply and divide, you can make random numbers, you can check greater than, less than, all kinds of stuff. Okay, turn your volume off. You're going to do that. Variables are going to be super important for us too. We're going to make spots to save our information and use them for later. Okay, so with that being said, let's look at a really basic program for now. Okay, let's say when I click my program, first of all, I'm going to move this guy here somewhere in the middle of the screen. And then I'm going to grab this go to command and make sure that every time my program starts, he'll always start kind of right here. Because you can move him like this, right? But now watch. If I press the flag, he'll actually go to this position. So if I want him, let's say I move him up here and run my program. Well, now he's stuck up there. And I want him to start here when I start my program every time. So I'm going to kind of drag him to the middle and then use this go to command. That's a good one to use. Okay, let's say I want to move him 10, turn him 15, move him 10 backwards, right, minus 10, and then turn him back in the same angle, something like that. Let's see what happens when I run it. It happens so quick you don't really see it, but if I put under events, if I put a wait 1 second in between each, Shub, is that you? I know that's you.
No, I'm just trying to program.
Yeah, I know, but I knew it was you. How could I know it was you? Make sure your volume's low. Okay. Okay, so let's run it. Boom. He moves 10, then he spins, then he moves 10 back, and then he spins backwards. Really boring program, but I mean, that's the basics of it for now. Okay. Here is one important topic I want to talk about quickly, okay? And it's under the blue sensing. Because today, Lab 1 is going to make you ask somebody something. Check this out. I could go under looks and I could say, hey, what's your name? Hello. I could type anything I want in here. Hello. What is your name? Okay? Question mark, sure. Oops. Great. Now, there's nowhere to type in your name when he asks you. Okay, so saying something is fine if you want to just get him to say something on the screen. But if you want someone to be able to type something in, you have to go to the blue blocks under sensing and use this ask command. By default, it says, what's your name? But watch what happens now. It gives me a place to type it. Okay, Fred. You can zoom in there if you want to. It's still very tiny. Okay, if I write Fred, big deal. It doesn't do anything. My code doesn't do anything. But when I type it in, it actually gets stored in this little bubble called answer. Look at that. You see that? It says Fred up there. Okay, so it knew I typed Fred. So why is that important? Okay, let's go here and say, once I type it in, can I say, hello, Fred? Okay, like that. Makes sense, right? Let's run it. Okay, I'm going to type in Fred. I'm going to hit enter. What's he going to say?
Hello, Fred.
He's going to say, hello, Fred. Okay, so that works. Correct. Let's try a different answer. Okay, what's your name? Donna. What do you think he's going to say? Hello, Fred. You're right. So my program is broken, even though it knows my answer is Donna. Okay? That's the idea of a variable, something that can change in your program, and you can't just hard code the word Fred in there. So how am I going to deal with this? I want to be able to say hello, Donna, if I type Donna, and Fred if I type Fred, and whatever. So under operators, there's a join command. Okay? So it says apple and banana or whatever, but I'm going to write the word hello here, okay, with a space. And then in here, I would like it to say Fred if I type Fred, Donna if I type Donna, banana if I type banana. So this is the idea of something called a variable, something that can change in coding. And for us, it's this answer bubble, okay? We can actually drag the answer bubble in there. And now, no matter what I type, my program will always say back what I typed. That's the idea of variable coding, okay? So if I type Donna now, will he say hello, Donna? Yes, he does. My program works by making use of a variable. Hello, Yasser. He says Yasser, okay? That's a variable. Good? So, now, here we go. Let's say I want to type in what's your first name. It's the last thing I'll show you here, okay? And then I want to ask afterwards, what's your last name? So I want to do more than one variable. The problem with this is that it only ever stores one in answer, so I can't like figure out how to say answer 1 and answer 2. That would be nice if it gave me more than one bubble for answer. So whatever I type here, I'm gonna have to make 2 joins, a join inside of a join to get them to say my first and my last name. It's a little bit awkward, but that's the way you do it in Scratch. So could I put answer and answer here like that? I also may want a space in between them too, right? So if I do one more join and make this a space and then put answer, I want them to get them to say the whole name, the first and the last name together. It's not going to work. You'll see why, okay? Donna. What's your first name? Donna. What's your last name? Smith. Okay? What's he going to say? He's going to say, hello, Smith, Smith. Because look at what my answer is. Smith. Hello, Smith, Smith. Okay? So, I need a way to store more than one variable at a time. And here's how you do it. You go to the variables button, the orange one, and you make a variable. Okay, you call it something smart. I'm going to call my first variable first name, just without any spaces or anything. I'm going to make a second one called last name, like that. Okay? So now I have 2 bubbles here. I can put first name here and last name here, and as long as I set them up, it should say the first and last name. Now, it's not going to work yet. Okay? Reason being, if I type something with these, or what was my name? Donna Smith. My answer is Donna. My answer is Smith, but first and last name are still 0 and 0 by default. So, there are a few commands where you can do this. Look at this. Right after I ask for first name, I can set first name to what should I put in this bubble? Answer. Because answer will be Donna, right? And then after I ask the second one, by the way, you can click in here and it'll go through all your variables. So if I go to last name, then I'll set last name to answer. So whatever I type now gets stored into both of those. Kind of a complicated idea, but one we're going to have to know a lot about because we're going to be wanting to save a lot of information. Let's say we make a game later on and we want to know your hit points. We're going to need a variable called hit points that's going to go up and down. It's going to have to start at 10 and go down or whatever, so we're going to have to make lots of these. Let's try it now. And we'll look here what's happening. Okay, what's your first name? Doug. Answer is Doug. It saved it in the variable first name that I made. Great, that's good. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Where did it do that code? It did it right here. Set first name to answer. Perfect. Now, what's your last name? Type Heffernan. Heffernan. Okay? Look it. My answer is Heffernan, and now my last name is Heffernan. And he said, hello, Doug Heffernan, didn't he? Let's try it one more time. Doug Heffernan. He says, hello, Doug Heffernan. Okay? That is the idea behind a variable in Scratch or in any coding language. Here is the whole basis of how to code. Get input from somebody, and in our case, it's just asking them to type first and last name. In a game, it's getting all the different button mappings from the control pad that they're touching. On a computer, it's getting keyboard and mouse inputs. Okay, so that's the first step of coding. Second step of coding is manipulating that input data. For us, all it was doing is setting first name to the first thing they type and last name to the last name they type. Very basic, but we've taken information from a user, we've manipulated it, and the last step to any kind of coding is outputting. For us, we simply just said hello, first name plus last name on the screen. On a video game, what you do is you basically crunch all the controls that the person's using, find out where all the characters are in a 3D world, map it to a 2D screen, and then your last step is to output it to a screen. Okay? Your video card is responsible for doing all that 3D math. But this is the most basic program you can make. But they all do the same thing. They get input, they manipulate it, and then they output it. Every computer program does that, from this boring little hello, what's your name, to all the way up to GTA 5. Okay, so they all do the same thing. So, yes.
What if you delete your code labs and is there a way to reverse?
Yeah, there's a file undo. There used to be. If you right click and hit undo, Tommy. Okay. When you grab a whole block, you can accidentally just pull it all over like that. Oops, I deleted it all. Undo. It's back. You can zoom in and out of your code if you need to. Okay. But for today, work on Scratch exercise 1. It's a lot of just printing lines to the screen. Asking people to make variables and asking their age. Output a greeting to make use. Oh, I see that you're blank. Years old. 16. Okay, stuff like that. Oh, there's even a little bit of math. Ask a user for a length and width of a rectangle, and then you output the perimeter in area. Okay? So you got to look up how to do timesing. It's going to be fun. Okay? So work on that today, Scratch exercise 1. Let's see how we do.